What is up, everybody? Welcome. This is episode 1 of the Hail Mary, a show. Probably we're going to do this every Monday and Friday, where we talk about 3 to 5 of the biggest sports stories of the week. I'll try to hit some of the biggest topics. When we get to football season, these will be much longer episodes because I'm going to start breaking down some of the biggest games and stuff like that, because right now, I don't really think that most of you really care about baseball breakdowns or hockey breakdowns, or well, maybe when the NBA season gets around, we'll do that. But for now, I want to do this every Monday, every Friday. So every Monday, we talk about what happened throughout the weekend. Every Friday, we'll talk about what happened throughout the week. This is going to be a less edited version of my short form content. So if you guys keep up with that, don't expect many cuts and all that. You know, I'll do some cuts here and there just to separate little things. But yes, this is episode 1 of the Hail Mary. I have 5 topics that I want to talk about today. We have some questions to answer from Discord. So if you want to ask a question, sports related, not sports related, whatever, be sure to join the Discord server for that. That's where I get all my questions. We have some revolving segments that we're going to do every single week as well. And I have a rant that something happened this weekend that I think is utterly ridiculous. And it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that. But let's begin opening it up with possibly the most dominant athlete that we have right now in the world. And I know there's some people, oh, golf isn't a sport. Shut up. Scottie Scheffler. Scottie Scheffler once again won another PGA championship, just solidifying the fact that he may possibly be the greatest golfer of all time. And I get that there's some sort of recency bias there because we're constantly watching him do it. I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be the greatest golfer of all time. Better than Tiger Woods ever has. It has been since August of 2022. Yes. Since this guy has missed a cut. He has a record for top 10 finishes. He hasn't finished outside of the top 25 all season. It's the craziest thing of all time. He's gotten to a point in his career that he said where he just said, what's the point? Because he has too much success. Have you ever been in a point in your life where winning has gotten boring? Tom Brady hasn't even gotten there. Kobe Bryant hasn't even gotten there. I get that those are just different mindset sports. But if Scottie Scheffler gets into that mindset of the Mamba mentality, just hand him the trophy every time. If you are a golfer on the PGA Tour, you're playing for second place. This guy, I know that he's working on his mentals right now. There's probably a whole thing with that whole bogus, that cop who had the big dick energy trying to tackle him up against the car. If you remember that, I believe it was last year. And Scottie Scheffler got arrested and then still ended up playing that day. And he didn't shoot the best, but wasn't over or under top 25. But this, if he fixes mentals and gets rid of this what's the point mentality, he could be the greatest athlete of all time. And I know that some people are going to be like, oh, golf isn't a sport. Go out and try to do what he does consistently. Scottie Scheffler is putting together a GOAT caliber resume. And when it's all said and done, I'm telling you right now, he may be the best golfer of all time. He may be in the Mount Rushmore of greatest athletes of all time. Right here. He is the first player in the last century to win his first 4 majors by at least 3 shots. He is a lock every single, like, if you are betting on DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever you use, he's a lock for a top 10. Like, it's just free money. Now, unless there's too much juice on it and it's not worth it, but he's seemingly a lock for a top 10, possibly even a top 5. I know he didn't shoot the best at Oakmont, which is close to where I live. I thought that he was going to do well. JJ Spawn, though, put together a tremendous tournament, though. But Scottie Scheffler is consistently one of the greatest golfers just we've ever seen. And when it's all said and done, I think he's going to be the GOAT. I believe that. So I think he's going to be in the Mount Rushmore of athletes. I think it's going to be like Wayne Gretzky, LeBron James, Tom Brady, Scotty Scheffler. He's just that freaking good. And if he gets into that Mamba mentality, if he gets into that MJ mentality, where it's, I don't just want to win, I want to completely and utterly dominate you. Could you imagine if this guy was also playing mind games with the other golfers? I get that there's a whole etiquette with that world, but if he was doing Kobe Bryant mind games on these guys, he may win every tournament by 5 or 6 strokes. Easily. I think Scotty Scheffler is going to be in the GOAT conversation when it's all said and done. The guy's incredible after winning another PGA championship. It's his second major championship of the year, 4th major overall. Puts him 3/4 of the way to a career Grand Slam. He'll get that easily. Give it maybe 3 years. The dude's incredible. Probably one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen of all time, by far. Next up, I want to talk about this Dee Gordon clip that is going on. Him talking about the MLB conspiracy against him to get him suspended because he didn't listen to their demands of helping out Bryce Harper. And at first, when you listen to the clip, you're like, oh, there's some validity to this. So to break down what happened, Dee Gordon went on a podcast basically talking about in 2015, the MLB came to him and said, hey, do not win the batting title. And he, obviously confused. And they said that they wanted Bryce Harper to win the Triple Crown that year because he would need to win the batting title, which is whoever has the best batting average. And when you look at that on the surface, it makes sense because Dee Gordon and Bryce Harper were kind of neck and neck for that. Dee Gordon ended up having a batting average on the year of 333. Bryce Harper had one of 330. Dee Gordon won the batting title because he ended up hitting, I think he said 3 for 4 in the final game of the year. So he won the batting title, which in his words said, took away from Bryce Harper winning the Triple Crown. And again, there was some, if you look at that just straight on the surface, there's some validity to it. But when you dig deeper into the stats, and it took 5 seconds to find this, yeah, Bryce Harper was nowhere close to winning the Triple Crown in 2015. Because to win the Triple Crown, if you're a baseball guy, you have to lead the league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. Bryce Harper had 99 RBIs that year. The league leader, Nolan Arenado, had 130. Bryce Harper was nowhere close to ever winning the Triple Crown. Not close at all. But Dee Gordon said that because he won the batting title, the next year after he signed, I believe he signed the suspension came shortly after he signed a 5-year, $50 million contract extension with the Marlins. So he said because he didn't listen to the MLB and let Bryce Harper win the Triple Crown, they suspended him. Where he got, I believe it was like 80 games or something like that. Yes, he was suspended for 80 games for violating the league's drug policy, where he tested for testosterone. And on the podcast, he was saying, like, does it look like, well, first of all, he said steroids. He's like, oh, does it look like I take steroids? I'm 165 pounds. That doesn't matter at all. You could still be taking some sort of substances. And at the time of his suspension in 2016, he could have came out and said, hey, this is what happened, like, on the low. The league came to me, told me to do this. But no. It wasn't a problem because he actually took responsibility for his actions. He said that, he was going to accept his consequences. What he did was wrong, but he did not knowingly take these things, but he's still going to accept the consequences. Whatever. He played the rest of that year. He wasn't able to play in the postseason because that's the whole thing if you get suspended. But him saying that there was a giant conspiracy, why didn't you come out with it when it first happened? Why wouldn't you Why are you now 8 years later or whatever saying that there was a giant conspiracy against you? And listen, I get that sometimes you get your facts mixed up. Maybe you have a little bit of CTE. This is something that is quickly debunked with a fact check, because even the year that D. Gordon was suspended, Bryce Harper didn't have the best year. He hit in like the mid to high 200s. He had like 89 RBIs. He wasn't even close to winning the Triple Crown. Not even close. So, unless he's confused about maybe they just wanted him to straight up win the batting title, but why wouldn't they just want him to win the Triple Crown if he was the golden boy? It is so confusing to me. I don't care that athletes go on podcasts all the time and lie. But if you're going to lie, I think at least do it in a way that can't be debunked. You know? You have to lie using facts. There was no facts that he used to support his lie. He just straight up lied, which again, I guess it makes for a good clip. He he gets people talking about it. but yeah, D. Gordon just straight up lying for no reason. But hey, to each their own. I guess the podcast, I think, loves it that he was on, because they get to talk about this and be like, what the hell was that all about, buddy? We debunked him within 3 minutes. The internet was like, what? What are you even talking about, D. Gordon? Because we can prove that you were lying. So that is that for D. Gordon. You should have came out back in 2016 and talked about this, but I guess you had to save it because whatever. So, yes. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is this whole WNBA controversy, I guess. People were talking about the shirts that they were wearing during the WNBA All-Star Game, where it was the WNBA players wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us," talking about the revenue sharing deal for the WNBA compared to what they have in the NBA. For context, the WNBA, they get like a 9.3% revenue share, when the NBA, they have a 50%. And everybody was freaking out about this. There were some jokes that were very funny. People were like, why are they wearing shirts that say, "Pay us what you owe us"? Nobody out there should be advocating for a pay cut. That's pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. However, there is some validity, I believe, to their argument, because everybody is just going like, well, the league's losing money and they're being subsidized by the NBA, and the NBA is losing money on them, so that you technically shouldn't be getting paid anything. I think that's a garbage argument. I don't think that is a good argument at all, because the league was losing money at a time of their old revenue sharing deal, and before they had these big name stars, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, they had big names, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi and all that, but not to this scale. The WNBA signed a $200 million media rights deal, which again is up from their previous deal, which was $45 million. That is an over 344% increase, I believe. They're making money now. Caitlin Clark has brought a huge economic impact as well to the WNBA. She brought over tens of millions of dollars to the city of Indianapolis. When she goes to another city to play, people are flocking to watch her. You saw the whole situation when she was hurt. The Chicago Sky tickets that were going for like $100 were down to like $2 because Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. It's just simple that there are more eyes on the product right now. They are signing bigger media deals. You have players now who are getting giant sponsorships. Caitlin Clark is doing sponsorships. Angel Reese has her new signature shoe line. Like, these players are bringing eyes to the product. They're making money now. So the whole they're not making money argument and they should be getting less money, or they're getting exactly what they're worth, I think is garbage. Should they make 50% of the revenue sharing deal. I mean, maybe, but even if they bumped up to what they had, right now they're at 9.3%. If they even got somewhere in the realm of 20 to 25%, it would be worth it because the product is growing. This whole wave of players that came in, like I said, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses, the Haley Van Lifts, it's also bringing eyes to the college product, which is then translating to the WNBA because everyone's like, who is the next Caitlin Clark? We got to find her. There are eyes on everything that has to do with the WNBA. The only people right now that are hurting the WNBA is the WNBA players. Because this whole thing with the pay us what you owe us, I think has so much validity. I think that they should get paid, not need, well, maybe need, but they should be getting paid more money because the WNBA has been making more money. Take it in this context. Your boss calls you into his office, his or her office, whatever, and says, hey, we made some mistakes on our end, the upper management. Because of what we've done, you have to take less money. Your paycheck is now lower because of stuff that we've done. You're going to be heated about that. But meanwhile, your boss is openly signing contracts to put more money in their pocket, but you're getting less money because of it. You would be mad. Just strip away gender, strip away even sports. If your boss was signing contracts making more money, they made mistakes, and you are working every day, and they pay you less money, or they just straight up don't give you something that's fair, you're going to be mad. And that is what's going on with this whole WNBA pay us what you owe us. So I do believe that they need to get a bump in their revenue sharing, and I think it will come at some point. I don't know when. I can't tell you when. That's not my job, but it will come at some point. But right now, with the WNBA making money, this new deal kicks in, I believe, in 2026. They're also expanding the league from 13 teams to 18 teams. A league that is losing money should not be expanding. You should be focusing on your core product before you expand. So they are not losing money if they're expanding. Especially because these cities who want to join the WNBA have to pay an egregious amount of money just to be part of the league. There is money coming in, and these players just want a fair slice of the pie. Now, where I said that the problem is with the WNBA players itself. Because for some reason, Kelsey Plum, she seems to be the one spearheading this whole I hate Caitlin Clark thing. Because in a press conference they were talking about after the whole All-Star game, they were talking to Kelsey Plum, and Sabrina Ionescu was there, talking about the shirts. And she basically just threw shade saying like, well, nobody from Caitlin Clark's teams, she said 0 members of Team Clark were present in the meeting to talk about these shirts. But yet Caitlin Clark was still wearing a shirt. Why are we throwing shade at the girl who is the face of your league? Again, I'm not saying that she is the best player. I think that Angel Wilson possibly is the best player in the WNBA right now. But Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. By far. You can't even argue that. Why does Kelsey Plum have this vendetta against Caitlin Clark? She's throwing shade at her. Even Sabrina Ionescu was like, what does that, like, why? Why are you bringing this up right now? She is the one who is bringing eyes to the product. She is the one, Caitlin Clark, who is going to put more money in your pocket. And I get that you want to be tough on this new wave of players, but she is the one who is helping you the most. It's quite simple. A rising tide lifts all ships. Caitlin Clark is that tide. And she is making every franchise more money because when she plays you on your when she goes on the road and comes to your city, ticket prices go through the roof. Attendance goes through the roof. Your media draw goes through the roof. And yet you are playing against her in the All-Star game. She didn't play this year, Caitlin Clark, because she's hurt. But last year, Kelsey Plum was on her like flies on shit. Like, taking it so serious when nobody else was even taking the All-Star game serious. I don't know what you feel you have to prove to yourself, that you have to dominate this rookie, even though she is a much better player than you, straight up. But the one girl who is making you the most money, I get that Angel Reese also has some draw. There are other players who have draw. Angel Wilson, Kelsey Plum also has some sort of draw, but it is not to the level of Caitlin Clark. And I'm going way far on a tangent about this. The only people holding back the WNBA are the players itself. Because for some reason they have some sort of vendetta against Caitlin Clark. Do you want to get paid what you're owed? Then maybe treat your star with respect. Caitlin Clark could have went to the Big Three. Yes, that Ice Cube League. And made so much more money. I think he offered her something like $500,000. And she's making quite literally less than that in the WNBA right now. I think her rookie contract was like $74,000. Like, she is the one player right now that can help you with this pay us what you owe us thing. And yet you're throwing shade at her. I bet you Kelsey Plum has burners that she just talks shit on Caitlin Clark all day. Because why? I just don't get it. I know I went on a tangent about that. It makes no sense to me. I'm with the whole pay us what you owe us thing, but when you do it this way, where you feel you also have to disparage your best player, makes no sense to me, Kelsey Plum. You make no sense to me sometimes. I don't get it. All right, next up, this also is a little confusing to me. Donald Trump is calling for the Washington Commanders to change their name back to the Washington Redskins. He posted it on Truth Social, which, who the fuck is on Truth Social? He also said that he wants the Cleveland Guardians to change their name back to the Indians. He said that there's been big clamorings for this. He says that the teams have more value if they go back to their old names. And he also was saying that he might just straight up put like an executive order in to force them to change their names back. Buddy, why are we worried about this? It's a freaking name. Listen, I was a part of the train where I thought it was stupid for them to change their names. I don't mind the name Commanders, though. I actually thought football team was a sick name. I get the Cleveland Guardians thing. It's rooted in Cleveland history. But the fact that we are making this a big deal where you're going to use your political power and influence to force these teams to change their names back is asinine. You should be doing other things. I'm with Donald Trump on this whole UFC event. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be cool. I don't mind that the president is involved in sports. Barack Obama was involved in sports. He would make his own bracketology thing and stuff like that. I have no problem with the American president being a part of American sports. No issue with that at all. But why are you going to be using executive orders to just change a name? It's a name. It's not like they're the Washington fuck Donald Trumps. Even I think that would be a sick name though. That'd be a really cool name for a team. But this is just something that it was on my feed and I'm like, what are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking about? So yeah, again, I like the name football team. I thought that was good. I think it would actually be a little bit weird if they went back to the Washington Redskins. I'm not saying that it would be weird because of the whole, I get people to say that it's racist and whatnot, and I get that it's also rooted in history, like the Florida Seminoles. The Seminole tribe actually likes the name because it kind of celebrates them in a way. You know what I'm saying? But I think that it would be weird if we doubled back to changing the name to the Redskins. I think it's good where it is. Could they have picked a better name than Commanders? Possibly. But stick with what you got. If anything, go back to football team. But this is just something I wanted to talk about because Donald Trump saying that he's going to use his presidential influence to make them change the name back, asinine. It's stupid. It's just very dumb in my opinion. Finally, for this week, our final topic that I want to talk about. This happened later, but it's just something that has been a big deal for the entire NFL. Sorry. That is TJ Watt's new contract extension, where he signed a 3-year, $123 million extension, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. He's making $41 million per year, where he passes Myles Garrett and Jamar Chase. A lot of people, for some reason, were upset about this. Cleveland sports media they got so offended because TJ Watt is now making more money than Myles Garrett. I don't remember the podcast. I don't even want to give them a platform right now, but they were like, oh yeah, good for you, TJ. Good for, like, just babying him and saying like, oh, maybe now you won't cry for calls. Every defensive player cries for calls. Every offensive player cries for calls. That's the game of football. It was extremely weird. These guys were so offended that TJ Watt is making more money than Myles Garrett. They didn't do the same thing when Jamar Chase was making more money than Myles Garrett, because Jamar Chase signed a deal that gave him $0.25 more million than Myles Garrett per year. Didn't see them crying about it then. Didn't see them talking about Myles Garrett when he wanted out of Cleveland, because he was talking about possibly wanting out if they didn't give him this big extension. Cleveland sports media, I gotta be honest, you guys are some of the weirdest people of all time. I get that you don't have a lot to hang your hat on after LeBron left. You know, the Columbus Blue Jackets suck. I know that you don't have another hockey team. The Cleveland Browns suck. I can't really say the Cavs suck, but they haven't done anything really since LeBron left. You guys are still upset because LeBron left. I get it. Listen, I'd be upset too if the generational player that was supposed to be our savior, who only won one championship, left, but to each their own, I guess. However, back to the TJ Watt deal. I think the biggest loser of this whole thing is, well, two franchises. First is the Bengals. I think they lost big time because they should have gotten a contract extension done with Trey Hendrickson way before this even happened, because they want to keep Trey Hendrickson, but they didn't want to pay him fair market value. This guy led the league in sacks last year, and you're now going to have to probably give him $45 million per year. And you didn't want to open up your checkbook before TJ Watt signed this extension, and now you're going to have to either give him a huge pay bump compared to what you wanted to give him. I think they wanted to give him like 38 million, 35 million, nowhere close to what he should be. He should be wearing the shirt that says pay me what I'm owed. If I'm Trey Hendrickson, I should be doing that. The Bengals are going to have to open up their checkbook now because, first of all, Shamar Stewart, with this whole situation where he's just not playing because of the language in his contract, and now Trey Hendrickson as well, where the Bengals didn't want to pay him the fair market value he thought he was worth. TJ Watt now signs this extension, and now you're going to have to give him buku bucks. You're going to have to at least match it, honestly. So they are the biggest losers. And then going back to this Shamar Stewart situation where they have this language in his contract that if he gets in trouble off the field or disciplinary things, they can void his guaranteed money. I made a video about this and people were like, oh, you're mad at the Bengals for protecting themselves? You didn't have to pick the kid. You took Shamar Stewart. You knew that he had off the field troubles. You didn't have to take him. You could have traded back. You could have taken another player in the draft. So this is on you if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, not Shamar Stewart. I think he's doing the right thing right now. I think the other loser is Jerry Jones because, again, the same situation with Trey Hendrickson. Buddy should have opened up his checkbook a little bit earlier before paying Micah Parsons because you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons huge money now. TJ Watt just pretty much reset the entire market of non-quarterbacks in the NFL. You're going to have to give Micah Parsons, especially with the cap going up, $45, $47 million per year. And I get the Jerry Jones loves the attention on him. He's going to let this go to the last possible second because he wants everyone talking about the Cowboys and, oh, will they trade Micah Parsons? What's a fair value for Micah Parsons? He's going to ride this out. And he'll give Micah Parsons the money. I really do. But it's going to be a lot more than it should have been. Micah Parsons could make $50 million a year, honestly, on like the open market. I think for Jerry Jones to keep him around, he's going to have to pay $45, $47 million. I think that this TJ Watt contract reset everything, and the biggest losers from this, the Cincinnati Bengals and Jerry Jones. TJ Watt made his money. I went back and forth. Listen, TJ Watt, if he would have gotten traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't think it would have been a bad thing. I think the Steelers could have got some good pieces to build for the future, but the Steelers got their guy back. They're happy about it, so I'm happy about it. Good for them. Good for TJ. TJ Watt, from this contract alone, has made more money than his brother did throughout his entire 12-year career, which is insane to me. But that's just how much the market has changed in the NFL. So good for TJ Watt. The Bengals, huge losers. Jerry Jones, even bigger loser. Actually, I think the Bengals are a bigger loser than Jerry Jones in this situation. Because the Bengals right now don't have Trey Hendrickson or Shamar Stewart. They're cooked right now on the defensive side of the ball. Joe Burrow, you're going to have to throw 75 touchdowns this year for the Bengals to even be competitive in the NFL. So that is that for the TJ Watt contract. I know I went on a ramble about the Bengals and Jerry Jones, but I think it makes sense because a lot of people already covered the TJ Watt contract. So, yeah. All right, let's answer some viewer questions. I have a channel in my Discord server where I'm going to ask you guys questions. It is called Hail Mary Asks. So if you guys want to ask me a question for the podcast, it doesn't have to be about sports. It can quite literally be about anything as long as it is, good for YouTube and it's fine. But I did get one question from somebody in my Discord server here. Leroy said, what is your long-term goal for podcasting? Where do you see yourself within the next 5 years with it? So obviously with this, I look up to guys like Pat McAfee and the Pardon My Take guys. Do I want to be on that level? I would love to be, but let's be reasonable here. I am just hoping I'm hitting my fault. Okay. I am just hoping right now with the podcast, I just want to build a good community. I want to be able to pop in to the Discord, ask a question, and we just get, not flooded, but a good amount of community engagement. That is my whole big thing right now is just community engagement. I want to build a community where if you guys make sports videos, you pop it in the Discord server, everybody could check it out. Everybody supports each other, just stuff like that. I'm not saying that I want just like a cult-like following or anything like that, but I just want to build this to where we have a consistent growth of people, people who want to check out the episodes, want to be a part of the community. That is where I hope to be in the next 5 years. Now, you see where I'm at right now. I am in a very small bedroom. We will be moving to a different, much larger place to film all this. But yeah, in the next 5, I can't say for sure that I want to be in a multi-million dollar complex, the content complex, but I would like to be at a place where, the community has grown substantially. So within the next 5 years, that's where I think I want to be. Just consistently doing this, consistently talking about sports, consistently engaging with the audience and the community. You guys supporting each other. I think that is where I want to be in the next 5 years. Obviously, I want to have enough money to pay my bills. I think that's everybody right now, but that's where I want to be. That is where I want to be. So appreciate it. Thank you so much for the question. If you want to ask a question, anything, sports, just whatever, make sure to join the Discord server. I put a prompt in that's saying like, hey, I'm doing podcast questions. So if you guys want to ask me a question and get it answered on the podcast, do it there in the Discord server. All right. Now, something I just want to rant about real fast. The Pittsburgh Pirates this week, first of all, had their Yinzerpalooza, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, this should have been one of the best times of the year for them. Everybody was flooding in Pittsburgh. You were playing the Chicago White Sox. You should have dominated them, just bullied them out of the building for Yinzerpalooza. Yeah, you got swept. I don't want to talk about that because I already yell enough about the Pittsburgh Pirates. What I want to talk about are the people for the Mac Miller bobblehead day. For the Pirates, they gave away a Mac Miller bobblehead that they, a lot of people flocked to PNC Park for it. You saw before with the Paul Skeens bobbleheads, people were lined up across the Clemente Bridge to get these bobbleheads. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with are these resellers. Why are you... Before these people even had the bobbleheads, they had them on eBay for $150. So let's just do the math here. You're paying probably $40 for a ticket. Now, it was the first 20,000 people as well who got a bobblehead. So to get a bobblehead, you probably had to be waiting in line. It was a 6:40 game. You honestly probably had to be there by noon. So you're sitting there for 6.5 to 7 hours. You paid $30 to $40 for a ticket, and you're selling the bobbleheads for $100. You're probably losing $10 on a shipping fee. So you're sitting there for 7 hours to make $50. You know what you can do in that time frame instead of just sitting there and reselling bobbleheads? Maybe get a job. There were people with garbage bags of these things, probably giving people $50 a piece to then resell them on eBay for $100. I think that is the dumbest thing possible. I'm not saying if you waited in line at noon to get a bobblehead for yourself because you're a huge Mac Miller fan or you just wanted to add it to your collection. No problem with that whatsoever. Do what you want, to each their own. But these people who are waiting in line, and there were stories of people fighting, fist fighting, about line placement over these things. You are a freaking loser. You wait 7 hours to get a bobblehead to make $50? I get that, tough economy. Get a fucking job. You can make $15 an hour working at a McDonald's. You would have made more money than you did reselling a bobblehead. And I guess people are going to be like, yeah, but that $50 just sitting in line beats actually working. Sure, but you're going to sit on hot concrete to wait for a bobblehead, fist fight a little kid over one. I can't even tell you how many people were probably trying to steal each other's bobbleheads because a lot of people take their stuff, put it under their chair. I guarantee you there were a ton of bobbleheads that were stolen from not people who wanted one that didn't get one, people who just wanted to steal them to resell. That just seeing all of this on the internet, I thought was so freaking stupid. If you waited 7 hours to resell a bobblehead for $50, I'm going to be frank with you. I think you're a loser. If you waited in line 7 hours to get a bobblehead because you are a huge Mac Miller fan and you wanted this piece of commemorative history for him on Yinzer Palooza, no problem with that. But if you did it strictly to sell it, I believe you are a huge loser and you probably need to get a job. Just that simple. Quite literally that simple. It pissed me off seeing all this. Especially the dude who had 2 white garbage bags full of them. What a loser. What an absolute loser. All right, everybody, we are going to finish off this podcast with something I want to call the no context top 5. Basically, every Monday, I want to give you guys a top 5 where I give the answers, I do the rankings, and you have to let me know in the comments what I am ranking for the top 5. It could be super broad, like best quarterbacks of all time. It could be super out there, like the worst foods to eat during the Super Bowl. Just something like that. And whoever guesses it will get a shout out for the week. And I'm hoping that we can get to a point where whoever guesses it, like the first person that guesses it, will get like a free piece of merch. That would be sick. But right now, I'm just going to do whoever does it, you get a shout out during the next segment. I'll put your name at the top. I'll tell people to follow you on all of your socials. So here is your no context top 5, and I will reveal the answer on Friday's episode. So here's your no context top 5. Michael Vick, Pablo Sanchez, Bo Jackson, Lamar Jackson, and Johnny Manziel. So you need to tell me in the comments what I am ranking top 5. That's the no context top 5. So you need to let me know, and whoever guesses it will get a shout out in the comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was my first ever episode of the Hail Mary. I plan on doing this every Monday and every Friday. Be sure to check us out on all of our socials. We are on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We are everywhere. I hope you guys enjoyed it so much. Please be sure to join the Discord server as well. If you want to ask a question, if you want to give suggestions about things that happened in sports for me to talk about, if you want to be a part of the no context top 5, if you want to give me things to rant about, join the Discord server. Also, if you are a content creator and you want to push your videos, if you want to push your podcast, Discord server as well. I will check it out. I have channels in my Discord server to help you guys grow, to plug your streams, to plug your videos, and we could just shoot the shit about sports whenever you guys want. I am pretty much always in the Discord server. I get updates to my phone. I get updates to my computer. So if you guys say something, I will probably see it. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching the inaugural episode of the Hail Mary. Thank you guys so much. I hope to see you in the Discord server. Make sure to comment what you think the no context, little tongue twister there, the no context top 5 is. And hey, have a beautiful day, everybody. I will see you all in the next episode of the Hail Mary. Peace out, everybody. See you on Friday.